Hello everyone, welcome back. We were just finishing for some announcements there. I am joined by Not Yeti.
Hello!
Who loves the stream so much that he was like, I'm fed up at this Netrunner rubbish, just get me on that stream.
Do you know what the problem is that at the London Regionals I just won all the prizes, so I've got no reason to stay in, so I decided...
That's fair. So we are now watching Tanzan back again on the stream, feeling bad and worrying that they got roasted for not using the Crisium grid against the Burner earlier. They are on Asa group again? Yeah, because it was a Crisium last time,
Tanzan, actually, one of my oldest friends from childhood. We started playing the game together about 3 years ago, so...
nice.
It'll be nice to...
Have you only been in Netrunner for 3 years?
About that time, yeah.
Wow.
And then on the opposite side of the table we've got Ish playing Hoshiko, which did he tell us what he was playing? I think it might be
I believe so.
Crew type Hoshiko.
Might be crew, might be mulch, might be regular.
Do you think there's a best Hoshiko at the moment? Do you think there's a good meta call? We see a Banha in that opening hand. This looks like a nice.
I feel like crew Hoshiko is a little bit warped right now because there are so many asset spammy decks that just don't have enough ice.
Click 1 for Tanzan there is a Rashida behind a piece of ice. We saw that.
Yeah.
We're now looking at some cards in hand. It looks like we've got a Biotic, we have a Hollow Man, and we have a Gatekeeper on HQ.
Yeah.
Mick in hand. So we're going to have tools to score agendas pretty fast, but all of those tools are very expensive. So this Rashida better find us some money.
Yes.
Click 1, Dirty Laundry R&D. See an Ichor project on the top of the deck.
I mean, you just have to take that when it's there. That is rough, but these things happen. It's possible to come back from this.
Very much so. We're going to run back.
Just please no.
We see on the top of the deck, I'm not quite sure what
I believe that was ice, so it's bricked
and last
there
tick install Banha. That seems like a pretty good opening turn for Ish here.
But that Rashida is going to fire. It's going to let us get lots of cards in hand and let us start working out what ice we're going to double up to prevent that Banha coming through.
1, 2, 3. It looks like we get more ice and we get an off-world office. So
there is a Hollow Man in hand, so
you could definitely set something up.
Yeah, if you want, you can. I mean, you got your Asa group for a double install, so you can always put Hollow Man and off-world, and then put an extra ice down. But
how are we going to afford all of that? That's the real question.
Yeah, that is the difficulty here. Because with Hollow Man, I mean, you'll get. If you're doing it next turn, it's
still 6 to use it the first time round and 4 to use it every subsequent time, which is a lot of money. Whilst Tanzan sat here on 9, so
and also your Asa group, so you want to try and put things quite wide if you can.
Yeah, and that, I mean, we don't really have assets, but being able to put the Hollow Man on the table, being able to put what I think is
so that's the off-world coming in here.
Yeah.
Then are we going to put an ablative on the outside?
I mean, the ablative already live on turn 2, thanks to that steal.
That's true, yeah.
And so we could recur that Rashida for quite a lot of value, like a res of the...
Yeah, in fact, an ablative, and then put a naked ice.
Yeah, ice and Rashida in
for the Rashida to come into. But,
and then if that Rashida finds you a fully up...
instead.
Okay.
Which is interesting because Gatekeeper is not what you want to be hitting
Banha with.
Yeah.
But there's pretty good odds, I think, that Ish just takes an off turn here, gets that Hoshiko flipped down. We've only got those 3 cards in hand. We spent 2 clicks running last turn and not drawing up, so we may well just see a bit of a setup turn, a bit of a. I think we saw a Largo in hand, which I would fully expect to see hit the table. So. Very much. Tanzan may have a window here.
Yeah.
And if you're Ish here sat across the table, we know that's a Hollow Man, but for all the world that could be a Mana Gun Skunkworks.
That's true.
Yeah. And you have to make a decision about what am I going to contest? When in the turn can I afford to do it?
So we have gone for. I mean, I guess we're hoping here that look, the runner's poor enough. They need to work out what to do.
Yep.
And they're probably going to be looking at setting up. Maybe you can greed it. You can hope that if they don't run, you're going to have enough credits to be able to score that off-world and get your money back.
We see the Banha there on R&D.
Yep. And now we know that server over there is pretty safe.
Now, do we know what card that is?
I have no idea, but it looks like it's a program.
I believe this might be a fermenter.
Ah, yes, because it's got a bar for strength. So it's got 0 strength because it is not an icebreaker.
Although I don't see a counter on it, so it could be anything. We're running
It could be a
here,
compilation.
which this could be the ablative barrier. If this gets us Arashida on with only one click spare, we could be looking at quite the play here for the recovery here for Tanzan.
Yeah. Although I imagine you have to, like, if you have a click left, you're just going to go take down that Rashida. You kind of have no choice.
But, I mean, Tanzan has 8 credits, could defend it, because you get the Asa trigger with the ice.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, wow. I completely forgot about that. Yes. I'm just so
we're
used
not
to
resin-
seeing Ablative be doing nothing.
And we see a
earlier.
second Ikua project on the top.
Oh, my goodness. That is rough.
Yeah.
And now every single access matters because a single touch of a card is just game over here.
Yeah.
So if that wasn't ablative, I think Tanzan's going to be kicking themselves that they didn't keep in mind that line.
But what are we going to see here? We can afford to score with the Hollow Man here and bounce back.
And we haven't got too many cards in hand, so we're not going to have.
And we'd be able to do that with a click spare.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, while we haven't stored anything from HQ. So here comes the Holloman, resing for 2, then using it, so spending 6 total to put 3 advancements, 1 for 1 more advancement.
And that is a off-world office that paid for itself.
Very nice.
And when you end that with a res Hollow Man and a click spare.
And 1 click left to be able to put... haven't got another agenda, but
we just have that Mana Gum, and I think Tanzan might be reticent to just continue pushing in the 1 remote server. Maybe looking to start getting wide, maybe worrying about R&D.
Yeah.
I also wonder, I don't know what it's likely for Asa decks, but is losing that second Ikua meaning that Tanzan's going to have to score 4 agendas?
I think it's likely. I think most of them are playing 2 Ikuas, which is nice because then it's like, okay, cool, you get 1. I'll just score the other one for myself.
But we're potentially in a pretty tricky spot. Now, that Banhar's going on HQ and we don't have anything particularly tasty in HQ.
Yep. There's a Mana Gum, which would be nice to take out while it's in hand rather than on the table. But it's not too much of a problem. Yeah, it's not the end of the world if it comes down because Hoshiko's not really like getting through many cards here.
See, that adds it straight to the score area, which is slightly presumptive. I wouldn't have expected Tanzan to be necessarily sitting on agendas. And it's interesting sometimes, like as the runner here, you can get the sense, like psychologically, that the runner must be flooded, or I can just, if I just run, I can just try and close the game. But realistically, like 3 of the 9 agendas in the deck are gone. You know, there's a lot of time here for Tanzan to turtle up, and Ish hasn't been spending the clicks to flip. It hasn't been flipping down. Hasn't been spending clicks to set up.
I have just seen a Devil Charm in Ish's hand, so that looks like we might be on a crew version here. Which would help a lot, especially with the corp on kind of a little low amount of credits, and also not really set up to get full value from a fully operational here.
So we see a Tranquility home grid. That's wonderful. That's basically the going to start providing the money for the rest of the game. And now you've got some real decisions about where you put that. Do you create a second remote server to try and start getting that fully up value? Click 1 draw, and we see a second off-world office. Now, if we can score this out, it'd be pretty massive.
Yep.
And I think with the Mana Gum, it's going to be it's good odds.
And with the runner showing only a Banhar to get through the outermost, although ideally we need another.
Yeah, the Hoshiko's going to start their turn on 4 cards in hand, though. So you know they're.
I guess the other real difficulty here is
4 credits even. Sorry.
Now we've seen both Ikuas go. Your entire threat of what if it's an Ikua and you need an extra click and 2 credits doesn't really apply anymore because there's probably none left in the deck.
Ish can afford to run last click.
Yeah.
But there are still threats like Ablative. We still very well could be having to play around things like Drafter.
Yeah.
And we are looking at this Banharing the remote server. Now, we do have the charm, but we don't have the crew. So we only have half of that combo to get us into the remote. But if you can force 2 ice reses, that may well be enough.
Yeah.
So let's see. 4 credits means that we're pretty constrained. I mean, Ish has a real choice here, right? If you can contest the remote, it's wonderful, but really it looks like you might have to afford an off turn. But drawing that crew is probably going to put some ideas in your head.
Yeah, it puts a lot of threat out on the table.
But yeah, we're just going to take the setup turn.
Just showing like...
Oh no, running last click.
I mean, yeah, you want to get all the stuff down.
And we
so you
still
can
have...
lose one with
we don't have
Manhunt.
voice with 1 credit. So you can't use crew to trash.
And also you can't get past the mana gun.
There's nothing you can do to get past the mana gun. Yeah, we don't need to raise anything.
Yeah. The option here is you could choose to res something if it's the thing you would rather they crew it.
No res. Res mana gun.
Okay.
I mean,
but yeah, I
you
guess
don't have
saving
the
the
crew.
credits lets you score.
Yeah. And 6 credits is...
And the powers that be.
Oh, are we going to be able to make use of that here?
You can.
So it's going to be
click the
4,
Holloman
5,
first, then install. Oh,
get a Rashida on the table.
is there enough? And there is enough. Yeah, there is enough to do it.
Yeah.
That is a spicy play.
Yeah. The ordering's important. You have to do the Hollow Man first.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's not something that we couldn't be taken back. Like, if needed, Tanzan should be able to do this here.
Yeah, and also you have your Asa trigger, so you can still protect
The Hollow Man. The powers that be.
The powers that be, yeah.
And you can have that being set up ready for your fully
Rashida
operational
to
in the
fire,
turn.
find your fully operational, and suddenly you have an infinite incon engine again.
Okay, so we're doing the install, which... Yeah, now we're reading the
just,
Hollow Man.
yeah, just checking how that works, undoing the install, now clicking the Holloman.
Yeah, Tanzan's credit perfect here to do all of this, so I is just wanting to make sure.
Yeah, using the Holloman.
So 5 credits, and we're just scoring.
Okay.
Not going for that powers that be play.
Yeah, there was a great opportunity. I guess there isn't a Tranquility in there. If there was a Tranquility, it would feel even more worth it.
Yeah, and we may potentially just be trying to put something else in this server here. Like if you do get that Trank in the server now, it would feel pretty good and look quite threatening to the runner.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially just. Trap the powers that be in as a kind of like trap, but we know you're going to have to score 2 more agendas, so
and we need that
probably
Hollow Man to be
do
doing
want
stuff.
to keep it around. But yeah, it definitely feels like the powers that be was a...
Yeah, and last click, install that Trank. So next turn we're going to be able to start putting stuff in there, and we are getting that third
on
ice.
the outside.
Yeah,
So that brand probably not going to be res, because that's the thing we really don't want to lose to the crew.
Yeah. Realistically, we probably don't want to res anything on this remote server. We just want to click 1. We are running the remote. I'm not sure. Actually,
if there's an
we've
ablative in
spent 2
here?
clicks. I think it's credit run the remote here. So we're looking to be able to trash that Hollow Man and just click through things. So yeah, you're saying to the corp, are you going to be able to res 2 pieces of ice to keep me out?
Yeah. We have do we know what was the innermost? Is the Gatekeeper on HQ?
No, Gatekeeper is the middle, and yeah, I don't know what the other ones are. But even that, like, this is the thing that happens as Hoshiko, right? You're making all of these. You've got this great early tempo, and then in the mid game, you spend all of your money and all of your resources trying to get in, and then suddenly you're broke.
Yeah.
Where you don't necessarily have your recovery.
Yeah, and the difficult thing here, like, you've got all the way through, you've clicked through the mana golem, you can't even take it down.
It's 3 credits to trash this mana gun. Oh, I think that is a cupulation on the opposite side of the table.
Okay.
And we are cupsing the Hollow Man.
Cool.
And now over to Tanzan, whose top deck here is going to be really important. Wow, okay, I don't know if I could have put that better. Now, you need to draw cards, but you also need money. And drawing into this HQ is potentially very dangerous. So, a lot of difficult decisions for Tanzan here.
Yes, although just anything, like if you find an agenda, if you install it, you get the Trank value, that gives you 8 credits. There's also still the mana golem in there. That's probably enough to...
Click one's draw a Chrysium. I don't think that will be doing much this game.
Yeah. I guess we just really want to find a fully operational.
We just need money.
Huge, yeah.
Okay, a Rashida there is very good. I think you can put a Rashida in the remote server, get the free Hollow Man install, get 2 credits, and you can be feeling pretty nice.
I wonder if at this moment you might actually want to put in just like the Chrysium grid, just because you can protect the Hollow Man in hand there. Because if you're installing 2 things in there, the runner's probably going to assume like, oh, there's probably nothing in HQ, otherwise...
Potentially.
If they're going down to 3 cards in HQ and they know you have a cupulation.
But there's no agenda in that server, and the runner may spend a lot of resources going and contesting it, you know? So it's the thing. The runner is spread pretty thin here.
That's my thought of the Chrysium, though, is if you put the Hollow Man in, that's their target.
But can they get in with 2 credits to trash? It would be tough from this board.
That's definitely true. Oh, yeah, because also the crew is... let's bring up crew. It's
2 to use it.
2 for the trash. and it's a tag to bring down the strength.
Yeah, so it's not the case that with these two credits, if if you want to click through the Managam and you want to deal with if you are trying to deal with two pieces of ice, it can be really tough. And if you spend those 2 credits to trash the Hollow Man, it's like fighting Tanzen's win comp, but you are expending quite a lot in the process.
Yeah.
And next turn he's got that Trank Grid, he's going to be able to just put something down.
And also, if there is an ablative here, like putting the Rashida on the table, Ish only has 2 credits. So if they're going to use a credit to go and trash the Rashida...
Interestingly, we didn't use either. We didn't install either. We just did the single install, didn't take the Asa value. Which, again, could be thinking that HQ's more... HQ is safer. I can't fully protect this remote server. I just need to keep dragging him through it whilst I stabilize and put something in there every turn.
Yeah, 1 face down each turn is more opportunities to drag them through and force them to face that Managon without building up enough credits to actually be able to take it down.
And we res a Hagen. Now that's going to get Banhard, so we're just going to take 2 damage.
Yep.
Continue, which means that we're very likely to see a second res here.
Yep. Although we have the option to crew whatever comes up now.
But if they do that, they won't be able to trust the Rashida. So
that's true.
And it's also, I think, a gatekeeper, right? So
if
it'd
it
be
is,
interesting.
then they'd
Also
have to
change
take
the
a tag.
Devo Charm.
Yeah. And you know that they can't trash.
Okay, so we're not rezzing. They are going to get in. They are going to be able to trash the Rashida, and we're just going to say,
yeah, you have to. As much as you feel like, really spending a credit for this, maybe this credit is more important. Them getting a Rashida Fire is too much of a swing.
But yeah, Tanzen going to be able to put something in the remote server here.
I feel like Tanzen's done a very good job to come back from 2 fortunate finds of Ikawa.
And I find this Asa really, and we see the first fully operational, I find these Asas really intense to play. It's like it can be really difficult. And trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to get the most value. I actually don't know if we have any ice in hand.
Yeah, we've run out of ice. And like if you draw... Wow.
Smallest fully up, and we're using the draw sub.
Oh,
we see a Spin Doctor and a second Powers that Be. And really, with the runner in the state they are now, you can put a Powers that Be on the table and expect it to stick.
Yeah. And we have to remember that Tanzen probably still has to score 2 more agendas, whereas Ish just needs to touch a single agenda once.
Yeah, I mean, if we see the third Ikawa, then it may well be just that.
Yeah.
I test with Tanzen a little bit.
With a Spin Doctor there.
Hollow Man and the Spin Doctor. And you've got to think as Ish, you've got to see that as like a very likely agenda push. It could even potentially be threatening the game.
And potentially, like, there is enough credits there that you can score out as long as you don't have to res anything. And again, being dragged through, is this the third, fourth time through this Managam?
We never got the Managam. And we're going to the Banhard HQ. We've decided.
Okay.
We've now drawn cards into HQ, and if we use the compilation here, we're not going to find anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're doing just that.
Anyway, yeah.
It's tough. Ish has, and we're seeing 3 cards that we cannot trash.
Yeah.
Ish has spent this game in that aggressive stance, and the Hoshiko, and like people complain a little bit. I mean, not to get too off topic, but people complain about Hoshiko being too value oriented and just like giving you too much. But the thing that I find like really lovely about the design of Hoshiko is exactly this board state, right, where she has been stealing a credit every single turn since turn 2.
Yeah.
And it's drawn us a lot of cards, but really it has made it really difficult for Ish to stabilize, and we've lost some sure gambles to damage. So like, is our comment? Oh, do you see that light the fire?
I don't.
There is a light the fire.
Okay.
In the hand, which is going to could be absolutely massive.
Maybe. Is that what we're just waiting for? Are we just gearing up for that to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it would make a lot of sense. But back down to 0 credits, we're getting the Amakua installed.
Yeah. The Amakua does help because you can always use the Devil Charm just to get something down to the strength of it.
Yep. Right, Tanzen Mancha draws a Drafter. And I think we'll be thinking about Icing Archives. I'd be very surprised if we don't see this Hollow Man rest
the
here.
board's so set up to be able
Spin
to
Doctor
frustrate this Armakua by just locking out all the centrals.
Res Spin Doctor. We see a Nico campaign and a Wage Workers. So we're now finally getting these economy assets that Tanzan, I'm sure, would have loved to have seen a long, long while ago.
Yeah, and we also do have a piece of ice, so we can put down the Wage Workers and put Zone Protection in front of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, a naked asset right now is pretty bad for this, having this Armakua around.
Yeah, there is that, but there is also the fact that, this Hoshiko doesn't have the means to trash it.
Yeah.
There's like anything you put on the table, they would have to get the credits and then spend the credits.
Yeah, and have to get the credits from zero.
Yeah.
Which is exceptionally difficult.
Like if it's moshing, if it's like credit, play, strike fund, like all of those things are going to be spending resources
and clicks, which means you can't really contest that Managon then.
Yeah, and these HB decks will just click tax you,
But yeah, it's very possible that this game is just going to come down to that Light the Fire, and it's just going to be a case of...
The Light the Fire will be pretty big.
Who expects Light the Fire to come out of Hoshiko? Maybe you think there's one in there, but you don't spend too much time thinking about each turn. And knowing that when the runner gets to 6 points, they can always get into any server pretty much.
Yeah, I mean the 3 ice is going to be would be pretty massive, right? If you can put 3 ice down, but like in order to put res the 3 ice, then you're going to have a lot more money than Tanzan does right now. And so yeah, it looks very firmly like Ish's deck is very, very similar to the deck that Kikai won the London Regionals with, and yeah, some of the cards like Light the Fire.
So the Wage Workers coming down there.
Yeah, and I think we'll expect to see this Nico go into the server and get 2 credits.
That's the Lego firing, I believe.
Wow, what an intense game. These games of Netrunner where you lose 6 points early and you've just got to spend the rest of it crawling back. And we see install, and I believe that was the Nico campaign. Yeah, looks like it was.
Surely some credits here,
Yeah, and the Biotic is gonna, has been enhanced since turn 1, but could turn the, pace of this game really quickly, especially in the later stages.
And with the Wage Workers on the table.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite let you score a 5-3 from hand.
Yeah, we can get Vitruvius counters.
Yeah.
And yeah, we gonna struggle to score because of the Iqua,
But yeah, the Vitruvius counter would then let you get back the fully operational, which now is a good card, but unfortunately before, not a great card.
And Tanzan got to think here. Where are these agendas? Where do I want them to be? And just putting out, I think that's the powers that be on the table.
Yeah. Which, if we've committed to not icing up archives, then having a naked asset is also fine. There's always something they can run with the Armakua.
Yeah, and I think that even on 10 credits, you're never going to res all this ice, right? Yeah. So, and we're ban hiring R&D.
R&D is completely random, so if you do touch the top, there is a chance.
Click 3 run R&D. So we still have this ablative barrier, which very much could deal some damage on this board state. Could get us a Rashida on the table. And even getting this access could be difficult.
Yeah. And the difficult thing being, if you want to res anything, you kind of have to res both things.
That is true. And Banhar is that's one of the things that makes Banhar so strong.
Yeah.
But if Tanzan can afford to hit, and we're resing the Mick, that's going to be... Yeah, and so we're going to be able to res the ablative barrier, get a Rashida. And we lose that Light the Fire.
Yeah, that's important.
But this access could be the game. Oh no, we have to crew to get the access. So we're looking at the hand. We're looking in archives.
And this is crewing for a single.
Rashida is going into the remote. And I think we're thinking about over-installing the Nico campaign to defend this Rashida because it gets us a trank trigger.
Yeah.
We get 2 credits on that. So if you're...
The other option, of course, we didn't have a Managom in the bin, so we couldn't... Oh, sorry, Ablative has to be another server, so of course it can't be.
Yeah. And we're thinking about this crew, and we're going to spend the Devil Charm and the crew to delete an Ablative barrier.
We could just take a tag and then pay with Armakua, but
and that looks like what we're doing. Yeah.
We have to worry.
So that crew is off the table.
Oh, okay, so we are trying
we're using... Yeah, it looks
I was
like
going to say you could take a tag just to lower the strength to then pay with Armakua. And that still leaves you a click and 2 credits in case there is a third Iqua in the deck. So we're just checking on here.
All of this for a single access. Tanzan, you've got to think. It could all come down to this. It looks like a Bran on the top of the deck. That not being the winning agenda might actually mean that Tanzan now looks favoured in this matchup. It very much depends on how he has to score out, but he's going to get a Rashida Fire.
That did feel like quite an aggressive run.
And that's what we've seen from Ish, right, for most of this game. And yeah, you're going to see that and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. And yeah, Ish has just been in that thing that happens when you steal 6 points early and then you just spend the game on the attack, not sitting back.
But yeah, it's how much do you trust that this deck is going to play only 3 5/3s?
Yep, so we fire Rashida. It's going to get us to 7.
Yeah. Plenty of credits, plenty of cards.
Yeah. 1.
And if we draw into fully operational here, like we
see a Vitruvius.
Yeah.
We see that Wage Workers, and I think another Mana Gun. So a lot of.
So if you want, you can
decisions.
go broke and have a scored Vitruvius, but unfortunately, didn't find a fully operational, which would have been very nice here.
If we Biotic, we go down to 3. Install, we go up to 2.
Oh yeah, you do get
Triple
the
advance.
Then you can use the.
You can then either powers all Wage Workers.
Yeah.
You would go really broke to do either of those things. It might not be worth it, but.
And unfortunately, powers triggering off. Is it after you score? Can you then say in that remote?
Yeah, you can.
Oh wow! So then, but then you obviously don't get the trank again.
You don't get the trank again. That would be the incredibly aggressive line.
There,
and it would also mean that like Tanzan's probably planning on using that Biotic Labor to close out, win the game, right?
Yeah. The problem here is that this MIC is not really stopping anything.
Well,
because as in, Ish can always get in once.
Yeah, but if you're the runner here, does running R&D for singles feels like the way you're going to win the game? I mean, it doesn't.
What if it's the single?
But that's the way you can lose. Really, really tough, I think, for both of these players. Tanzan has a lot to think about. But yeah, I mean.
And also, we've seen accumulation come down. We've seen it.
We do have the Hollow Man on the table. I don't know if that makes a difference to how you score this turn, but probably not with your credit total.
You'd be left with 1 credit. Well, you'd have 2 from the things. You'd have 3 credits left over afterwards.
Okay, so that could be a powers that be res. That could be a Wage Workers.
Yeah.
Tough.
But it's also, while it's in your hand, it's just a 1 in 5. And the accumulation,
I mean,
there's not much to see it coming back. Like, we haven't got a fermenter cooking on the table that could be cashed out with a Simul chip. So
if you're able to put this Vitruvius on the table and have it survive a turn, you are going to be able to score it, recur something, potentially get Vitruvius counters to recur your fully operationals. It could, scoring a Vitruvius here with a counter will fund, I mean, however you score the Vitruvius really, it will probably fund you for the rest of this game.
Yeah.
The question is, how on earth do you score it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we just need fully operational here.
Click
a
1.
Single fully operational solves this for Asa. So you're kind of just waiting for that.
Click 1 install. Gain 2 credits. Thinking. It's looking at the ice. It's really, really tough here. But Hoshiko's still on 2 credits there. Going to start the turn on 1 credit. So even if Tanzan leaves himself fairly open, is Hoshiko going to be able to capitalize on that?
Yeah. Now,
and we are taking a defensive line. We are icing R&D. We have 1 click left.
I guess seeing A light the fire, be lost to damage.
Yeah, and you
probably assume there's only 1.
Yeah. If Tanzan, very close friend of mine, teammate. I would say of the players I know, one of the less meta, savvy. He's probably not paying attention to the lists that are coming out. He probably doesn't know his opponent's deck card for card. He's just making the best plays that he can on this turn, with the information that he has. And we also do we see a Tread Lightly in hand? Looks like it. We're definitely playing Kikai.
Tread Lightly is a really,
It's I've argued with Kikai about this a lot. I think it's wrong.
It's a very swingy card that in some matchups it's completely irrelevant, and in some matchups it's absolutely devastating. I think particularly against the Asmari lists, where you often have a server which is completely untouched for most of the game.
HQ, Raindrops HQ, and now we know there are no agendas in here. But this is still going to be a tempo forward play for Ish. But without that Banha on another server, we're potentially not getting any other accesses this turn.
Yep. So Wage Workers will do nothing
Stays
with that.
in hand. We've got 3 clicks. We've got 4 credits. How are we going to start applying pressure? What else do you see in hand? I see a crew. It's going to come down for 2. Back down to 2 credits, where Ish has been for most of this game. I think we've forgotten Amaku account there.
And here comes the Tread Lightly.
Wow, last click, Tread Lightly R&D.
Which is interesting because there is an MIC on here as well, right?
Yeah.
Which are we trying
Tanzan clearly thinking about his res, which leads me to think that this is almost certainly an ablasive barrier.
Yeah.
If it's
a free Rashida, it's magical, but it is a 5 cost.
Yeah,
the money you pay extra, so it's just
but
more
you
cards.
might prevent this access, you know.
Yeah. Although we have an Amakua charged with 3 counters, so
but we've got 3. So yeah, I think we can get in. We can get in whatever happens.
And also the runner is tagged, so they're happy to take tags because 1 tag, 2 tags is all the same against HB.
Oh, it's tough. It's really tough. If that isn't ablative, I would be tempted to trade the mic.
Oh, so we are.
But we're going to crew the mic.
Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing we're crewing it.
Crewing the mic. Yeah, if I was Tanzan there, I mean, this doesn't feel like a bad trade. If this is a whiff, as Tanzan, you do feel all right here. But
yeah, it's a difficult game when you just have to trust your deck sometimes. You have to trust the R&D on the odds.
Okay, they're running it back. Clearly, I think Tanzan's asking, he's thinking about if he's going to just use the mic before we get to the Deltran crew.
Yeah. Taking back the 2 credits.
Thinking. It's really rough here. But Tanzan can get to 6 points. We could have both of these players on game point. And I think this is a judge call about the take back. I think Ish should kind of express the intention to use it, and that's an ablative barrier on the top of the deck. That is not the game. I think that's a fair. I think from the judge's perspective, the information had been revealed. Decision to use, and now we have options how to score this out. We have Wage Workers. We have the Hollow Man. We have a lot of options here.
Definitely.
You could just score it. Wage Workers have a spare click and get this Rashida in the remote. There's all sorts you can do here, and you can get that Vitruvius counter to get you the.
The other thing you have to worry about, though, there is an Amakura on the table, and it does have 4 virus counters on it, which is a problem. They only have 1 credit.
Okay, we are going to use the Hollow Man, so that's 2 to res. So we're getting down to 3 credits. Yep. It looks like Tanzan deciding not to res the powers that be.
Just scoring as is, with no extra counter either.
Yeah.
Which
this might be the sign of somebody who is a little stressed out, and he is putting the Chrysium grid in the remote server, threatening the win. I think it's really tough here for both players. Tanzan,
but I guess when there's a Hagen on it, like we've got a Hagen protecting it, and there is an Amakura on the table, and that means
it's a 5 strength Hagen,
which means the runner does have to run somewhere else first.
Or the Banhard could potentially get us there.
Potentially, yeah.
Looks like we've got another judge call for this table. Take over a missed Largo trigger. Whatever happens here, I think. Ooh, what's the? Oh dear indeed. Cobalt in chat is correct. I believe there are now 2 regions in the remote server.
You can't have 2 regions in a remote server.
I don't know if Tanzan will have noticed this.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Tanzan might need to have this rolled back. We might need. I wonder if the judges can spot this before it goes badly.
Yeah.
I'm assuming as commentators our role here is to not interact, not intervene.
Yes, we are not judges. So
okay, it looks like we're taking that back.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's difficult to say, like, if you say...
Oh no, we're taking that back. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
because
being
if you do have that happen, and then you need to be like, oh, I've installed a card and I realize I can't or shouldn't install that card here.
Wow. Oh my lord.
And I think the Corp revealing that they have an installable card in their hand is not necessarily a game-changing piece of information.
Tamsin cannot make this play. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, we did take it back, and it's not...
It's not in the server, but it doesn't look like Tamsin got to take an additional click. It's not clear to me what all of that was about.
I think a different card went in, right?
Oh, really? Was that not there already?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Because we just scored a Vitruvius out of it.
Okay, we're ban hiring R&D. We think that's an ablative barrier. And that is a fully operational top
That's going to be very nice to pick
up.
up.
No res, no agendas in HQ. So it looks like Tanzin's safe for a turn.
Yeah.
And could have a way of pulling this out with the Vitruvius.
And I mean, the fully operational coming through is going to be very nice. Although, still, we have a turtle on 5 counters now, which means enough credits can get Ish into any server, pretty much.
Into any server, but...
Except for Gatekeeper, of course, which will be 6 strength.
Yeah. Okay, we are rezzing a Gatekeeper. So that's going to fire. So Tanzin is going to break lock here.
Yep.
And going to draw 3 cards. Hoping, I think, just to top deck the win. Which is going to be difficult because from your low credit total. 1, 2, 3. No agendas. They are deep down in the deck. Going back.
And this game is...
Rashida on top. Last credit trash the Rashida.
This game is particularly important because this is the winner of this might make it into the cup.
Might make it.
And the loser certainly won't make it into the cup. So it's an important game for both of them, and also they're on stream.
Top deck a drafter, still no agenda in hand.
Yeah. But we do have the fully operational now, so we can bounce back that income.
Yeah, and potentially find the thing to jam.
And there is I think that's a Mavirus in hand. That is huge. Installing that Mavirus, putting a piece of ice in front of it, then playing the fully operational.
Click 1 install. I didn't see what that was.
And then we're adding Mavirus with it. We're going to take, I imagine, 2 credits from this for the install.
Would expect so. Okay, that's click 1.
Yeah. And we're just thinking about the Lego, I assume. Yep. Oh, beautiful. 2 credits, but you are going to lose one of them. Yes, but an extra credit could be all the difference here. Although now that we know that there is a Mavirus on the table,
fully operational, yeah.
Like that Omakura is doing nothing whenever it needs to.
Oh my lord! So drawing 2, can find Nico and another fully operational. Still no agendas for Tanzan here. The lack of agendas has really kept him in this game since those 2 Equa skills, but now it feels like a real punishment. 6 points for both players. I mean, we have 12 points on the table, so there's another 9 or 10 points. You're going to want to put another piece of ice on R&D, I think. But he is thinking. There's a lot of cards in hand here. And the difficulty also, you've got a Gatekeeper on HQ, which is now 0 strength. So if you do make the decision to try and find the agenda so you have it in hand for next turn, that's going to be a problem, because they can get through that even if you use your Mavirus. Yeah. Wow. It must be so tough here as Tanzan. Yeah. What do you do? It looks like he's thinking Managam on R&D. Just needs it to hold. Knows that he's not going to be able to res enough ice to keep Ish off. Yeah. And is just going to have to fork him. Say, look, if you want to challenge this remote, which I think Ish will. And remembering there's still a Banhor on the table, so any server can be gotten into. Any of these one-eye servers can comfortably be gotten into when needed. On 7 credits, Tanzan can just top deck the win from this point. Yeah. Vitruvius, Hollow Man, we just have it. So keeping R&D locked, which is what Ish has been doing, very important. Click 1, we're just going to run it. Range up through. Tanzan thinking. Just going to res the Managam.
3 clicks on a run to
3
see
clicks on a single.
but it could be the single that matters.
We're doing it. It's a Tattoo Bowler.
Yes.
Wow. How do you think emotionally as Ish you're feeling here, right? Your first 2 accesses, amazing. Everything since then.
It's very difficult. I feel like there's also a line where you feel regret for going for singles, but then it gets to the point where you've put so much opportunities into those that you're like, but what if it's the next one? What if it's the next one? It's like when you gamble and you're like, well, I've already spent all this. Surely the next time I'll hit big. Whereas taking a little bit of time, taking a step back, building up some economy and some board.
But Tanzan still hasn't spent that Biotic Labor. I don't know if it's gone in the bin, but there's a very real possibility that with some combination of that fully operational and the cards in hand, that we are going to be...
That's time in the round. So it's tied at the moment.
Tanzan just needs to find an agenda on this turn. And we are somehow managing to run an access. We're going to see it past the B, and we're seeing a Mavirus. Are you trashing that? Yep. You don't get your...
Yeah, I mean, when it's time in the round, I don't think it really matters now.
Yeah.
So the main thing is you need to do anything that can get the corpse credits down.
So
which I don't think there is anything. And I don't know if there is a line that the corp can score out.
I think there is. I think with the Biotic and the fully operational and the wage works on the table, there's like a world where you can definitely get it.
But you have to... Surely you have to fully up and find in the first 2 cards.
Probably.
I think because you need the rest of the credits to be able to do all of that.
You get 2 from the Trent Grid when you do the install.
Yeah.
So I know that in round 6, Tanzan ended the game in a very similar position, having to just have this puzzle, this final turn after time's been called. How do I win the game? If you're watching at home, think what would you do in this board state?
Yeah, so I mean...
I think it starts with fully operational.
The maximum best economy here is what? We play fully operational, we draw 2 cards, one of them let's assume is an agenda. We then take 4 credits for the rest. That means we've net gained 3 credits. We're going to gain 2 from the Trank, that gets us to 10 credits, which then we can Biotic,
we can
install. You could Holloman or you could use Wage Workers.
Yeah,
which I think you can score a 2-4 if it's in the first 2 cards. You might be able to score a 2-3
if it's in the top 4.
in the top 4
so
cards.
Tanzan very, very realistically has it here. He is just absolutely petrified, I think. Solomon in chat, I agree with that one.
All right, here it is.
Can we go to the pub, come back, play the last turn.
Comes down.
Draw 2. 1, it's a Trent Grid. 2, it's a fully operational. We have to continue drawing.
Now, there is a... No, wait.
You can get a Wage Workers on playing 3, and we see...
On 3 operations,
We see a off-world office on that second one. So now Tanzan has to think to himself, 4 credits, potentially 6 credits. Can I score an off-world?
So if you off-world Biotic, that gives you a click. So that's all your 3 clicks spent, but you get a click from the Biotic. You get 2 clicks from the Biotic, 1 click from the...
Hollow Man advance isn't going to get you there though. You're just
if it was a 2-3, you could do it. So
I think
you have to
install Biotic advance. Does that get you there?
I think you just calculate that. Yeah, you can't score this off-world. You have to draw 2 more.
Tough.
I think because if you can find a Vitruvius, then with Wage Workers and Biotic, there is a line where you can score it.
And we don't get it. Don't get the Vitruvius.
No, yeah.
So it looks like that might be... that looks like it might be a game, but Tanzan knows he's got Wage Workers here. There's like...
Yeah.
I think actually a draw for both these players is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's really tragic because I think that puts them both out of contention for the cut. There was no way they could ID through this. Yeah, just thinking through all the maths. If we had a second Biotic...
Yeah, second Biotic could maybe.
But I think earlier on there was a line where we could have installed the Mavirus in a new remote, putting down a piece of ice.
Second Biotic just came into hand.
Okay.
You can gain 4 now. That is an Iqua.
Okay, there was another Iqua.
There was another Iqua.
Which, with us not knowing that, may have changed a lot the lines that Tanzan was considering.
Okay, so res wage workers biotic here.
Yeah, but the
And
thing
but
is
you-
here, if
You've only
there
got
was
2 clicks left after that, right?
if there was one more turn, Tanzan would have this.
If you res
comfortably,
wage, if you res wage workers biotic, you have 3 clicks, which isn't enough. It looks like he might be continuing to draw for the.
I think we're just hoping
Vitruvius?
that there's a way that somehow. Yeah, I guess if you do grab
I don't
the
know.
next one, you get a Vitruvius in the first 2 cards. Then you'll have 7 credits, 8, 9 credits with the Trank. You play Biotic, which is 4, so you've got 5 left.
But it's just
which means install Holloman Advance, which might just be it still.
Yeah.
But yeah, an extra server here for these fully operationals would have probably cemented it.
Okay, so we have resolved to gain more money, which is going to fund our biotic labour, our first one.
We're just too short on credits
Just
to be able to pay 2
slightly.
biotics,
Just slightly.
especially if we also need to reg the wage workers to get a click. There is also there is a line where if you play 2 biotics, you'll have 5 clicks, which means that you could then. Oh no, you wouldn't be able to double use wage workers because one of yours is an install.
And then triple advance, would you have it? No,
Yeah,
not quite,
you'd still be short. So you'd have to have it already advanced, but yeah.
Tanzan like a click or a credit short here.
Yeah.
Like 8 different ways. And he's just taking time to think.
doing all
but
the
I just
maths.
don't think he has it. It's so tough.
Looking at every card, seeing if there is just an option somewhere. Now, while we're waiting for I think for Tanzan to come to the same conclusion that we have, I have a very interesting philosophical question for you.
Go on.
What if Tanzan intentionally game lost at this point, so that they didn't both draw and one of them won?
Yeah.
No idea what happens. No idea about the ethics of that either.
Yeah, I don't think as either player you couldn't really be super willing to concede, but just send it. Yeah, like both of these players will get some of the exclusive pricing for this tournament. There's prize for the top 16.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, it looks like Tanzan is going to come up just shy. He's resing the wage workers.
Which had it's a very interesting layout for an Asa board, do you think? I would usually expect to see a little wider, but I guess when you see Banhar, you have to start stacking your server, so
Yeah,
you don't really have a choice.
Banhar is very, very good against you.
Just doing lots of counting of clicks here.
Yeah, I think Tanzan, just rerunning the numbers again and again and again. This is the second time today that Tanzan has been just shy of doing it on the final turn, as when time was called. Okay, he's resing the wage workers, or he's just talking it all
Yeah,
through?
to be honest, at this point, you could just be like, hey Ish, here's all my cards. Can I actually score this? Help me figure out the maths. You know, everyone likes to see an impressive final win, so...
I don't think there are any greasing the palm in Tanzan's deck. I think that would obviously help, but...
Greasing the Palm is unfortunately just a card that... It's such good value, but it's always one of the first things to get cut.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's just a mere shadow compared to fully operational, and that's kind of the only operation you want to be playing.
Yeah, it would be nice for the wage workers and for everything else, but yeah, we're just going to come up shy. We have...
I don't believe there is a turn after this.
Yeah, I don't believe
it's difficult to say because the table that's playing is a second or two behind us. I think it's 600 milliseconds, which is 6-second delay.
Yeah.
So when time is called, it could be that Ish does actually have one last turn.
Yeah, my assumption is that he doesn't here, but...
Yeah. I think the fact that Tanzan is kind of saying, "Hey, look, this is a wage workers here." Well, actually, Ish knows it's a wage workers. But also, when you've drawn in this way, it's because you think that you could have the win here.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't, then it's accepted.
Yeah. And are we going to see a handshake?
Biotic?
No, Cobalt. I think that Tanzan can Wes Wage Workers here and then play the Biotic. I don't think he's taken his third click yet, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, as long as it sees the third click. It has to be ready for the third click, so it can't be your third install and then you res it. That's not possible.
Yeah, so I think you can res before you take the third click, it'd be totally fine.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong.
You're being
on the
corrected on your timings.
It might be that it is actually just 0.6 seconds.
If it were me here, I would install triple advance an agenda and then offer a handshake. But
and then immediately take your cards and shuffle them and be like, "Oh, just what we draw instead. It's more friendly."
No, I don't mean as in like that fake that I want.
Really desperately trying to find the maths to work here. I understand it because, like, you know, no one wants to find out later that they did have it. Especially knowing it's on stream.
And it's the difference between making the card.
Us two here are talking about all the maths, and then you're going to be able to go back and see, like, did I have it in there?
Right, and he is...
Look, there's the handshake. That's it.
Okay. Wonderful.
Handshake has happened.
Congratulations. I mean, commiserations to both players. Yeah. But yeah, like, incredibly well played. It was the top card of the deck.
That's rough. Yeah.
Feel rough.
Just the agendas bubbled up to the top when you didn't want them, and then sunk to the bottom later on, and there was just an unfortunate way out of that.
Yeah, really, really tight game. Really, really interesting.
But very well played by Tanzan. Like, early on, losing 2 Iquas, especially the first access of the game, just now the runner is always almost halfway to winning, is very rough indeed. And managing to hold the fort so well and really force the runner to think every single thing I feel like I need to contest and can't quite get up to speed. Well, that has been 7 rounds of Swiss.
3 rounds with the top card, still to go.
Yes, very exciting stuff. We'll have a little bit of a break now because there'll be some prizing going out, people getting some rewards and so on, and then we'll be back to show those top cut games, and we'll find out who's joining me.
Right, thank you very much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you for joining.
I'll see you all later.
You can plug your YouTube channel.
TMKF Netrunner.
Planning to do a...
I don't know if I'll do a tournament report for this. I've done so many for regionals that it kind of like, I don't know if I have anything new to say, but I'll get one. There'll be one out soon, maybe after Nottingham next weekend.
Nice. And yeah, we'll see you guys back later for the